The following program does not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good evening and welcome to This House of Musicians with your host, singer, songwriter, and founder of the band, Inner City Outlaws, the Baritone Bear, Barry Smith, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board, send us an email. Our email address is thisHouseofMusicians@gmail.com or instudio101@gmail.com.
An hasty rockin' day. The classy chassis way.
And now, right to your host of This House of Musicians, Mr. Barry Smith.
Hey, welcome, folks, to This House of Musicians, and to our listener, I always welcome you on Reality Radio 101. We hope you enjoy the next hour with us as we do our small part to help promote musicians, bands, and venues. Gary, how are you?
I'm fine, Barry. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. I'm very excited. We have a fellow from a heavy metal band on the show this evening, and I think it's the first time. We've had lots of artists, but hey, there's some metal I like, and it's a great genre. So welcome, folks. Welcome, Dave Barrett from the band Superchucker. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Hey, Barry, pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing good, buddy. Thank you.
Awesome.
I know you have a super high energy metal band. I've listened to a few of your songs, all of the songs actually on Spotify. And man, you guys are pretty darn good. Great musicians. You're a great singer. So we're honored to have you here on the show.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's we have a good time making the album and that, and it's fun performing. A little bit high energy as far as I could see, anyways. I gauge it along with the audience and how they're getting along. And when they get heavier, we get heavier. So it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm sure it is. Man, let's just start right at the beginning. I know that you've been singing ever since you were a kid. You wanted to be a singer in some form or another. Let's just talk about how, you evolved into singing and how old you were and who your influences were. Like, I know my parents. It was the hardcore country music with my parents. That's how I got introduced to music. Of course, as I, moved through life and got into the teens, it was Sabbath and Zeppelin and all that stuff. But let's talk about how you got introduced to music and how it all started.
I got introduced to music through my sister, Karen. And Karen used to listen to like Leonard Skinner and Thin Lizzy and stuff like that. And I got right into the music there. One of the biggest influence. Oh, yeah, she was. A biker chick, if you'd like to say that.
Awesome.
Yeah, she brought home Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, and I got right into that. And I'm going, you know what? This is an awesome band. Love the way, the sound came through the headphones and that. I really liked it. And I'm going, I like this. This is really cool. So, growing up, junior high school, I think I got into vocal classes and did my thing and tried to get into band, wanted to play guitar, but I'm a left-handed. And the school was not going to change a guitar from right-handed to left-handed for one person. So they said,
kidding.
Well, no. They said, screw you, do it. And that, if you like it, that's cool. But if not, you're going to fail the course. So I went, well, okay, I might as well start learning. So I picked up bass actually and started playing with bass. It seemed a little easier for the fingering and that. And did that and got into steel band, started playing trombone for breathing. Started getting my classes and everything like that, passing really well. And then I went into high school and started thinking serious about my vocals, took opera lessons over at Rowan School of Musical Arts way back in the day, and started taking opera there for about a year for breathing techniques and that, while still going through my school, my trumpet and all that, or a trombone and that. It was interesting. And then during high school, at say lunches, me and a couple of the guys would go over to the music room and just start wailing out on different songs, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, start doing stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun. And we got a little bit of a gathering. We started a little cool. high school band and just start rocking out from there. And ever since that, I just kept on going on.
Man, that's awesome. That's very cool. So opera, let's talk about that for a sec. I know a lot of vocalists take an opera class. Just tell me how you figured that that's something that you wanted to do.
I wanted to know the scales and how the breathing would come about with opera scales and the different falsettos, and how I could hit notes that, I'd listen to different operas, or even the classics. Yeah. But I'd listen to all these guys, and I like some classicals like Brahms and Beethoven and stuff like that, even though they're not vocalists. But you have a song, and then you'd put a picture to that song, and it really opened up a lot of a lot of thinking for me when it pertains to a song being written.
Sure. So you were in school, when did you start singing? How old were you when you started singing? And what were you singing? Who were you influenced by when it came to singing?
Oh, God, way back then. I think everything really, like
what do you think your first song was that you learned and sang? Do you remember?
I remember singing to a girl in public school, and I can't remember the name of the damn song, but it was that Down in Jamaica song. You ever, down in Jamaica, they got lots of pretty women, that song. And she looked at me and she goes, "You know what? You got a beautiful voice." And I said, "Thank you very much." And I think right then it kind of, hey man, maybe I could do something with this song or do something with singing. And it really perked me up. And I said, yeah, man, let's give this a shot. So it's fun.
Hey man, you were on the right track by singing to a girl. I mean, what a great way to start, eh? And you haven't probably stopped.
No, I sing to everybody now, but it all depends on how they interpret my songs and everything like that. The words I write and that. Yeah. Have a lot of fun.
Yeah, tons of fun. Well, man, you got a screaming voice, that's for sure. We got an email from Don Q, and Don says, "Hi Barry, love Dave and his work. Now that COVID is semi-winding down, do you have any gigs planned?"
We haven't right now. What we're doing, we're working on our second album. We have about 5 or 6 songs right now that we're trying to tweak, and we're in talks whether to release an EP or whether to just jump right in there and release a whole new album. We might have something coming out within this year, another song or two that I don't want to really mention too much right now about, but hopefully it'll come out really cool. And but we're looking for a new album and starting to really clamp down on the new songs right now.
That's really exciting. I've done a few myself. I don't have the same genre as you, but definitely have done a couple of albums and done a lot of recording. It's so much fun, man. Like I Jones not being in the studio, bud.
Yeah. I remember recording one of the songs, and we're in the studio, and we got all these little Christmas lights and all that stuff. So I'm sitting there and belting it out. And it when you get in there, you get nervous as hell. You're looking around, you're going, oh man, I don't know if I could do this without a live performance. I like performing live. That's where I get my Jones, right? Recording, I'll record a line and then stop. Okay, how's that sound? That sounds good. Okay, record it again. So I'll record it again. I'll do it like maybe 4 or 5 times until it sounds perfect. And then I go, okay, cool. Now we're ready to go. I like the learning process of the recording. For me, I'd rather perform in front of people than record. But I understand you got to do both, right?
Yeah, and you can be a little more, what's the word I'm looking for here? You can just let loose a little more when you're playing live, too. Like you say, you might be a little nervous when you're in the studio because you kind of have to hit those notes right on. If you miss a note live, nobody freaking notices. You know, everyone's partying, everyone's having a great time. Your guitar player's probably cranked up super loud.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, let's talk about the guys in your band.
Okay, well, we got my co-partners here. We got Steve McPherson. He's the bass player and producer of the songs. What he'll do is he'll come up with an idea. He'll throw it out to all of us and say, okay, what do you guys think? And then we'll break it down and say, yeah, okay, that's cool. I'll sit there and I'll throw a little bit of a rhythm to it, like vocally, and say, okay, well, this sounds right in my head. And usually 9 times out of 10, when I put it in my head, I'm going, yeah, it sounds great. And the guys will look at me and go, dude, that sounds bad. And I'll go, crap. Okay. And then I'll have to go back to the drawing board and start breaking it up again. But, you know, Steve he's a good guy. He's a lot of fun in the studio. We joke around and laugh and all that stuff. He's a really cool guy. Steve's been around for a bunch of years too. So there's Steve McPherson, Stavros Theolopoulos. He is a guitar player that years back, we were in a band called Muffin together. And we were doing the circuit and playing around. Really nice guitar player. He has a nice bluesy sound to him, and that's what I really like. Very laid back kind of guy. Very cool. Then we got Robert Hassey. Robert Hassey, he's a riot. He's the man behind the skins. He sits there and just starts ripping around. Fun guy. He's a giant of a guy though. He's like 6'4", and he almost looks like a ZZ Top kind of throwback. He's fun as shit. And then we got Sean Pegg. Sean Pegg is a lead guitar player. Great guy. Sean Pegg, Steve McPherson and myself, we were in a band called Judas Rising. And we did a couple of shows in the Toronto area, had great success. Sean is a very laid back kind of guy. He's classically trained, which is really cool. He knows his way around a fretboard, and very proud to call him a bandmate. I'm proud to call all of them a bandmate. I really like them all. But a lot of fun in the studio, man. A lot of fun.
You got to have a lot of tolerance and a lot of patience when you're playing with 3 or 4 different guys, man. Sometimes it's hard. You might not agree on the same things, but the greatest of the bands get through it.
Yeah, one of the things that I've noticed, especially doing this for so many years, you sit back and you take everything in. Your decision is not always the correct one. You have to listen to what everybody else is doing because they all might have a different sound, and your sound might sound great, but their sound might sound better. And you go, you know what? I like that. You know, the way that song kind of changes the dynamic of the words or the song themselves. And I think it's really, you got to sit back and let everybody have a word in edgewise, because if not, it's almost like you're just hiring these guys, and you know, you got 1, possibly 2 people that are actually, you know, writing everything, and the other guys are going, well, I'm not contributing to anything, so what the hell am I here for, kind of thing.
Sure. It's been the demise of many bands, either big, great rock bands, famous or not, that they just can't see eye to eye with stuff. And you know what? I guess after 20 years of being together, sometimes it's time to do something else. I mean, it could get a little mundane, but let's just get back and talk about Steve McPherson here. He's got an impressive resume. He's toured the world with shows across Canada, Europe, and Brazil. He was playing in the role of Malcolm with the AC/DC show in Canada. That's pretty impressive stuff to be touring around the world.
Yeah. He does that with Spugor and the Exalted Pile Driver. He's the guitar players for those bands. Sure. And he's done, you know, Brazil, Europe, like he's gone all over the place. And it's really good to listen to the stories that he has. It's eye-opening, some of them anyways. And the man is still in it. And that's impressive to me. And I'm going, you know what? You know, a lot of people would pack this up or say, okay, well, I haven't hit that, you know, Iron Maiden status or anything like that. But this guy here, I have to say, loves it for the music. And that is respectable. And, you know, I look up to that guy, and he's a good, fun guy, man. He really, truly is.
Well, you sound like a great guy yourself for saying things like that about your bandmates. A lot of people have egos. Now, let's talk about Rob, the drummer, for a sec, brother. He says when Rob was a little older, he got into music. His brother took him to see Judas Priest at the C&E Grandstand. He remembers the cops throwing out people for fighting and the fans going crazy when Rob Halford hit the stage and that skunky odor when the lights went down. He said it was his first show and he fell in love with the whole experience. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Mine was Scorpions with Kick Axe and over at the C&E Grandstand, and that never left me. And the same thing, like Rob and I talked about this many a times with the first concerts and everything, and we get a big kick out of it. We're saying, you know what? If it was a really good experience, that's what kept us into it, because you could see the the audience love for the music and the bands and that.
Yeah. Well, you know what, bud? I've been playing music for 40 years and never had any huge success or anything like that. But boy, my wife and I, TJ, we go to a lot of concerts, almost every one. As a matter of fact, there's not like these guys must just be in their glory. And it's a shame that it's only for 3 or 4 hours and then they got to go on the road until the next show, because that's what messes them up. But I mean, just the atmosphere and the, of being at a show and a concert. We go to an awful lot, man, and it is so much fun.
I saw some pictures that you had on Facebook regarding the Leonard Skinner and the ZZ Top show. That looked like a riot. I never saw ZZ Top, but I'd like to see them. I saw Leonard Skinner, good band, but I like ZZ Top.
You know what? I didn't even know that ZZ Top was going to be on the venue until there was 4 bands: 38 Special, ZZ Top, Wolf. What the heck were those guys' names? So they're all related in one way or another, either musically or family. All 4 bands are related, because we know that the fella from Skinner made 38 Special. I think one of the brothers, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't even know until we were on the GO train. I think I just read something that ZZ Top was going to be on the venue. Man, that just set the whole night off. There was 4 bands. They were all killer, but Skinner blew the place away, man. They were so good, bud. So cool. Good. And so that's why we love going to shows. It's so much fun. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Dave, we got another email. This is from Gail T. And Gail says, hey, new listener here from South Valley, New Mexico. Does your guest, Dave, have a web presence? Let's talk about how people can get in contact with your music or stream your stuff or buy your stuff and listen to what you guys have going on.
The best thing to do, hello, Gail, by the way. The best thing to do is go on to our Superchucker page. It's www.superchucker.com. That's it. And check out our videos. We got like 3 or 4 videos out for this album alone. We got the songs on there. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Music. We're on everything there. Just call out for play some Superchucker, man, and we should be popping up.
Absolutely. And the videos are impressive, buddy. They're well done, too.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
we got a couple of people doing it. The last one is Cloak of Darkness, and that's by Clarence Poirier, I think it is. Great guy. He talked to Steve about this, and he says, you want a song put on video? And we're going, yeah, man. Let's, talked about it, and we said, okay, let's do Cloak of Darkness. So we threw it out there, and that's the recent one. That's the one that was released in, I think it was August 1st. So yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Good for you. Hey, one more email before we start talking about a song I want to play. That is a pretty groovy song that you guys have. This is from Katie D, and Katie says, love your guest. Sounds like a true gentleman. Very humble. Rock on. P.S. Does Dave do music full time? And if not, what else do you do for a living?
I don't do music full time. I would love to do music full time, but I don't.
Wouldn't we all, Dave?
I know, eh? I work as a shipper and receiver in a trucking company, and on my feet 8 hours a day and doing what everybody else does. And I am one of those psychos that likes to work. I like to get up in the morning. I like to go do something. I don't like sitting on my butt doing absolutely nothing.
Good for you.
I'll sit there and I'll, put some poems together, and hopefully they might, squeak into some of the lyrics for some of the songs in that. But yeah, I got to do something. I really do. I don't like sitting around and just twiddling my thumbs. I hate it when it comes to retirement. Either there's going to be a crap load of music coming out when I retire, or there's going to be absolutely, nothing because I found another job somewhere else. I just like working.
Sure, you'll be doing something for sure. Keep yourself busy. Let's talk about your album, man. It is called Widespread Panic, correct?
It is so. Yes, it is.
What year did you do that, Dave?
We did this, believe it or not, we recorded this well before the COVID-19 thing hit. I'd say around October. And we're coming up with some songs. Steve threw out this one track and he says, what do you guys think? And we're going, yeah, it sounds really good. Let's came up with some lyrics and some words around it. And I said, okay, well, how about Widespread Panic? That sounds really cool. And Steve's going, I came up with that about a month ago. And I'm going, all right, well, whatever, but it sounds good. Let's put the words to it. And that. So we threw the words to it. And we kept it going. It's just by coincidence that this COVID-19 thing hit, because honestly, this album had absolutely nothing to do with the COVID at all. So
coincidence.
It really is. It really is.
Well, folks, I want you to check, for the listener out there, go check out the video, too. It's impressive. The video's called Widespread Panic by Superchucker. Now, Dave, let's play that tune. That's the title track, Widespread Panic. I've listened to it. It is definitely very high energy, and then we'll come back and talk about it. We'll do a couple shouts out to our sponsor right after the song, and then we'll come back and talk to it. What do you say we play Widespread Panic, bud?
Sounds like a plan, man.
Awesome, folks. I'm talking with Dave Barrett from the band Superchucker, and this is their original called Widespread Panic right here on Reality Radio 101.
Joy set ablaze. No movement, no love to be found. And I want you with me, but you're so far away. The smell of the rock, the flash and the shock, a balance of life and decay. Widespread panic. Wow! Widespread panic. Wow! Widespread panic. Wow! Widespread panic. Wow!
Hey, welcome back, folks. If you're just tuning in, we have Dave Barrett from the heavy metal band Superchucker on the radio, on the show here tonight. And we just listened to a song called Widespread Panic off the album of the same name, Widespread Panic. Dave, I know you touched on it a little bit before we played the song, but let's just talk about how you guys came up with the song again.
Well, Steve, our bass player, would come up with a rhythm of a song and then he'll pitch it over to the guys and say, okay, well, what do you guys think? And we'll break it apart and say, okay, well, we could do that. We could do this. I try to stay out of the music part of it. I like to story tell what I'm seeing in the song. I'll come up with a kind of like a weird kind of storyline to a song, and then I'll pitch that over to the guys and say, okay, well, this is what this is about. And they look at me and they go, it doesn't even sound like that. And I said, exactly. And I like to paint a 3D picture for every song or all the lyrics that I write for songs, because I want the listener to look at it as a personal experience for them. It might not exactly mean what is written, but it doesn't matter what I'm putting down. It's what the song means to the listener. And that's what's important for us, actually. As a band, we want the listener to experience something that they could find something personal in each song that we do.
Sure. So would you say then that you write poems? Like, say, I know you mentioned something about doing poems before, writing poems. Is that how you come up with a lot of your lyrics?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll be sitting there watching TV or just outside having a coffee or something, and then I'll come up with a good kind of a cool line, and I'll say, you know what, that sounds kind of cool, and then I'll go, okay, and then I'll just start jotting things down. One of the things that I like to do is kind of rhyme a word with another word in another line or something, where it kind of like fits in together. And I'll come up with I don't know, something like a Frankenstein story or something, and say, you know what? Okay, well, let's put the perspective of the people in the town and what they're looking at with Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster, and say, okay, well, what fear does that person have? And let's put that down in words and say, okay, well, this would sound really cool in a song, and let's branch it out that way.
Do you share? Do the guys in the band share some of the lyrics too? Throw a couple of lines in?
Steve will throw a couple of lines in and say, okay, what do you think? I don't know. Maybe I intimidate him or something like that. They go, well, screw you, man. I don't want you, to critique what I'm putting out. So we'll just leave it the way it is. But I'm good with all interpretations of what they have. If it doesn't really fit with what I wrote, then I'll say, okay, well, let's see how it sounds. If they come up with a good rhythm for the song, for me to sing to or whatever, I'll go, okay, yeah, that sounds really cool. For a singer, especially with myself, I like to feel the song. When I'm singing and I'm hitting some notes or whatever like that, I want that feeling to be projected into the audience, where they could say, holy crap, this guy really means what he's saying, or he's really feeling. When a singer goes up on stage, Bruce Dickinson is a perfect example. Same thing with Ronnie James Dio. Perfect examples of those guys going up there and belting it out and feeling the song. It's almost like they're making love to I don't know, making love to the mic verbally kind of thing, where they're feeling the song when they're singing it, and that's important. So yeah, I like feeling the song.
Absolutely. No, that's good. That's good, man. That's
Yeah.
Everybody has a different approach to it and a different way about it. I find when I write songs, I just usually use my guitar and write a couple of things or get a couple of riffs and then come back to it later in a couple of weeks and then decide whether I like that riff or not, and then go ahead and write a song from it. But
you know what? The guys, I'll sit here sometimes at night and I'll come up with a rhythm. And if it sticks in my head for about 10, 15 minutes, it drives me nuts. So I'm phoning up these guys, or I'm doing a group chat and I go, guys, I don't know what I'm doing here, but this freaking thing is driving me nuts. Here, listen. And they'll look and they'll send me a message and go, dude, you got to stop drinking, or it's too late. You got to go to bed. But, sometimes
absolutely.
There might be something that might just stick in there, and they'll go, yeah, okay, that sounds really cool. And then they'll build from that. So, it's fun.
I find when I find that it's amazing when I sit down and put lyrics to a song and maybe make some music on a guitar or just play it on the guitar and then go in the studio. A lot of times I come out of the studio going, I didn't think that song was going to come out or be that way. It's a lot of times totally different. Like, how about for you? Do you have a complete idea that when we go in the studio and come out, this is the way it's going to be? Or because I guess you guys have a band, so you probably rehearse it a lot before you go into the studio, whereas I just have a guitar by myself. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of times does it turn out different than what you thought it would?
I'd say 9 times out of 10, no. When we go into the studio and we have it all broken down and we'll say, okay, we'll do the drums first and then we'll do the guitars or the bass track next and blah, blah, blah. It's usually regimented that way. There might be a little bit of a guitar lick, or we might do pre-production or post-production, a little change here and there, but nothing really, okay, I don't like the way that bridge came in, or I don't like the way the chorus jumps in, because we already have that all rehearsed and everything. So yeah, as I said, there might be a little bit of this, that, and the other thing. Mostly, when it comes to the vocalist, for myself anyways, I have a little bit more freedom than the guys do playing the song, because I could come out and start, projecting a little different, or saying, you know what, I don't like the way this chorus comes out. I'm going to try it a little different and hopefully it'll stick. And, I could go on the fly like that, but I don't think with the guys, they're pretty solid on what they have to do in the studio.
Well, it's awesome to be able to rehearse the song 1,000 times and go in and nail it after the first or second time.
That never happens.
That's impressive. No,
there's
never
always happens.
That's because you make mistakes. You get in there and now you're under pressure, right?
You're right. You hit notes that only dogs can hear sometimes. You go, damn, that's not what I wanted.
That's right, man. Absolutely. Now, you have a pretty impressive resume yourself, Dave. So it says you've been singing for over 25 years. You've had the privilege to open for such great bands as Testament, Dragon Lord with Eric Peterson, The Gathering, Anvil, Exciter, Metal Mike, holy smokes, Steel, Disciples with Greg Goldie, Scott Warren, Tim Ripper Owens, Rudy Sarzo, and Vinny Appice. I mean, these are some pretty decent names, man.
Yep.
What was that like? Let's just touch on Vinny Appice for a bit. How did all that happen?
The Dio Disciples were coming through Toronto, and we were lucky enough to get on the bill with them. And we were playing over at the Rock Pile. This, if I remember correctly, this was about 9 or 10 years ago. And it was Stavros and myself, actually. And we got up on stage, and one of my goals, I don't know if you know the layout of the Rock Pile or not. One of my goals was to get Ripper Owens to come out and check us out. And we were the opening act, and I said, you know what? I want him out. And we start ripping into some songs. And I'd say within like the second song, he came out from the fireplace room that used to be in the back there. And He stood there with two guys, and they watched our whole performance. And I'm going, that's right. That's what I want. I want professionals coming out. And I talked to him afterwards, and he was impressed, and we had a really good talk. I love his voice. Ripper, a lot of people tear into him, but you know what? The man's got a good voice. You got to admit, he's got a good voice. Whether it's Rob Halford or not, I don't give a crap. Ripper on his own has a really good voice, and he knows what he's doing, and he's one hell of a nice guy. That being said, we did a couple of shows with him when he came through Toronto. And every time he sits there and he looks and he goes, Dave, come on up or whatever. And I'll jump on stage with him and do a couple of songs and that. Very, very nice guy. Vinny Apsey, very cool, very quiet. You know, you go up to him, you shake his hand, you say, hey, how's it going? And you go, oh, hi, you know, very, I don't know. I won't say, he's very shy, it seems. When I talked to him anyways, and took a picture with myself and my son, and very nice guy, shook his hand and thank you very much, and walked out. That was, you know, very cool.
Yeah, man, that's impressive. That had to be a good night for you.
Oh, it was. I was in seventh heaven, man. It was fun.
No, I bet, man. That's just too cool. So you, let's tell the listener again how they can find your stuff. Folks, I'm talking to Dave Barrett from Superchucker, high energy metal band here, great musicians, great singer. You can find their stuff on Spotify. Again, check out their video, Widespread Panic, from the album of the same name. Where did you guys record the album, Dave?
Oh, various places, actually.
Cool.
We have or Steve, in fact, has a recording, you know, little table kind of thing, and he boots around. We recorded it in our rehearsal studio over at Stavros's basement. A couple of different places. You know, now that COVID's hit, it becomes a little bit harder, but you know what? It's good that we have the technology that we do, that we could say, okay, well, here, I'm going to send you, you know, the lead for this song or the drum tracks for this song. Everybody's doing their parts in that. So once it was recorded, we sent it over to Sean Pegg. Sean Pegg listened to it, mixed it, and did all his magic, and then sent it out and said, okay, well, here you go. And that was it.
That's great. You guys have a pretty impressive website here, too, folks. I want you to check out Superchucker's website. Why don't we, Dave, do another song off of now? This Cloak of Darkness is also on Widespread Panic, correct?
It is so, yep.
Awesome, man. Let's play this song for the folks that are listening out there, and we'll come back, do another shout out to a sponsor, and we'll come back and talk about Cloak of Darkness. What do you say?
Sounds good.
Awesome, man. Folks, I am sitting here talking with, well, he's not here, but close enough. Where are you at, Dave? Where do you live?
I live in Barrie, Ontario.
Cool. Okay, there you go.
It's sunny here right now, so that's really cool.
Good for you. So we're not too far away. But anyway, folks, you're listening to Dave Barrett from Superchucker. That's who we have on the show tonight. And this is a song that they wrote called Cloak of Darkness off the same album, Widespread Panic, right here on Reality Radio 101.
Looking in the dark, the stalkers all around us, they wait to make their mark. Looks to be a model, damage brings pain. The Lord doesn't stop them, no one left blame. Under the cloak of darkness, the cloak of darkness. about your business. Hope there's nothing wrong. Let us know the silence. A mass suburban fight. Silence leads to misery. Leads into the night. Under the cloak of darkness. 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 Oh yeah, oh yeah. Under the cloak of darkness. They come and take your life. Under the cloak of darkness.
Hey, welcome back, folks. If you guys want to follow along, the listener out there wants to follow along to what shows we have every Tuesday from 7 till 8, be sure and join this House of Musicians Facebook group on Facebook and on Instagram, simply This House of Musicians. So there you go, folks. You can follow along to all the artists that we're going to have every week on the shows, again, by joining This House of Musicians Facebook group and Instagram, This House of Musicians. Folks, we have Dave Barrett from the band Superchucker tonight, high energy metal band. We just heard their song Cloak of Darkness off the album Widespread Panic. Dave, man, let's talk about Cloak of Darkness, where it came from, how you guys made it. What a great song.
Thank you. Steve came up with the rhythm to the song and, threw it out to us, and we sat down and started talking about breakdowns and the way the lyrics should be and how it should sound. And it was this song here was a group effort for sure. And, it's just basically about the way the society is today with the gangs and how people don't really respect one another and that. And it's the breakdown of society, I guess you could call it, on how things are going. And don't forget, this was well before this year. This was, the rhythm of the song, according to Steve, was written a while ago, like a couple of years ago. We just kind of said, okay, well, let's throw something together with it and see what we could do. And we sat down as a group and said, okay, well, let's come up with some really cool lyrics for this stuff. And Steve, on this one here, Steve was a major contributing factor of the song. And he came up with a really good, song structure. And we came out with some pretty good lyrics from what I could tell. Anyways, I like them, so they're kind of cool.
You guys did a great job. What a great
Thank
song,
you.
indeed. Dave, I always like to ask all the artists that come on the show, man, tell me a crazy story that's happened while you've been playing live or during a show or on your break at a show or something. I kind of putting you on the spot. Sometimes it takes a bit for people to think about something, but everybody has like a crazy story of something that happened. What do you got for me?
I got a funny story. I don't know if you're familiar with Jake Discman. He is the sound guy over at the Rock Pile.
Well, I have him on my Facebook, so I do follow him. Yes.
This guy is a riot sometimes. Grumpy old prick that he is a riot. I love him. He's funny. The very first time I met him, I think we were opening up for Testament at the time. And this was over at the Reverb down on Queen Street. And went in. Now I have a fog machine. Or I had a fog machine, and I put it off to the corner. Well, one of these fog machines, it takes a while to heat up. So you got to leave it on and everything. Well, I didn't know that the button was on there to let the smoke go. So the place, with Testament, and this was their return concert. So the place is rammed with all these people. My fog machine was off in the corner, so it went off. And all of a sudden, it just filled up the place. All I saw was this streak of hair go running right across, and all I hear is, fuck, fuck, fuck.
That's fabulous. Was that Jake then?
It was Jake, and he ran over to the corner, and I said, Jake, it's okay. It's just my fog machine. He goes, you're a dork, What the hell's wrong with you? Why didn't you tell me this? We had a fire here once before. And I'm like, he just ripped into me, and I'm going, I'm sorry.
I'm sure he thought the place was on fire, right?
Oh, he did. He hated me for a bit, but it was funny as hell. It was funny.
Well, you know what to get him for Christmas?
Yeah, smoke detector.
Front door delivery. Yeah, smoke detector. There you go. That's not what I was thinking, but that worked. Absolutely, man. That's hilarious. Man. Hey, Bud, that's fabulous. What do you got on the go? What do you guys? I know you said you're working on possibly another album. What do you guys have on the go? And of course, I'm sure you're intending to do more gigs when all this stuff clears up.
Oh, for sure. I want to get out of the Toronto scene a little bit. As much as I love it, I'd like to start going over to Quebec, Thunder Bay, just reaching out, maybe even the States. If we're invited to go to Europe or something like that, if everybody's willing and able to do so, love to do that too and start playing with bigger crowds and, let them experience the Superchucker that we know that we could be and that people would love to hear. Staying so confined in one market, it becomes daunting after a while because you keep on inviting the same friends over and over and over, and they're going, you know what, we've seen you guys a couple of times. We love your music and that, but we've seen you, and we want to see, more people, more friendly faces and that. Whether they like us or they don't like us, we're there to entertain, and that's what we want to do. And if it goes further out, down in the States or whatever like that, or up north, I don't care. Just as long as we're together and we're having a riot and we have something to say and we want to say it to the masses as best as possible. That's
sure.
it.
And you could almost get to feel like you're not really getting too far if you're staying in Toronto doing the same gigs. Now I know that Europe is a huge, Switzerland, Sweden, they are just over the moon about heavy metal. So that would be a good place to promote your stuff for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we are getting a little bit of traction. Like we've sent it out to a couple of promoters and magazines. Brave Word Bloody Knuckles did an article on us. There's been a bunch of different articles down in Europe. I've been sending some of our songs down over to California. There's some radio stations down in California. If I remember correctly, England is playing one of our songs down there another day on their daytime radio drive-in. And it's we're getting some traction on this, which is really, really impressive. We're kind of humbled by some of the reactions and some of the people, and for that, it's giving us a drive to really push forward on the second album. And with the second album, we have some really good ideas, and I'm extremely pleased with 3 of the songs that we're coming out with right now. The other 2 are still in production, but these 3 right now, I think when the listener hears it, it's going to blow their socks off. And we got a lot of plans for these things. So we're looking forward to it.
Well, that's great, man. And we wish you all the best of luck with that, too. And don't forget, when you guys get out gigging again, send me a message. I'll plug your gigs on this show. And the wife and I'd love to get out and see you. Dave, I like to do a segment that I call, well, Gary, what do you think?
Sounds good.
Wow. What do I think? Well, can you say deal? Dave's, his vocals sound a little bit like Ronnie, Deal, James. And so that's a good asset, right? The genres that I listen to hard rock, as you know. My band is a hard rock band. I don't normally listen to metal because I have to be honest, a lot of metal artists, they don't really express what they're trying to express in my heart and in my mind. But, something, the lyrics and Dave's got a really pristine voice, so you can really understand and get the gist of his lyric and what he's singing. So I like that a lot compared to a lot of metal artists where, they're just out there screaming basically, and then they can't do a second night in a row, So yeah. I like that. I also liked a lot of the guitar harmonies, some of the overdubs and stuff they put in. I like that. That was really nice. And I think the songs have a commercial ability to them, and that's the most important thing in music nowadays. If you're not commercial, no matter what you think is your genre, what you think is your artistic ability, you're going nowhere fast. You'll be a bar band making $60 a night. You'll never get out of that genre. You'll never get out of those venues unless you really think commercial. And you can think commercial even being metal. So hats off to you, my friend.
Thank you very much, Gary.
Hey, Dave, let's talk about your EP, Liar, that came out in 2019. How did that come to be?
Oh, well, we came up with, actually, Liar is on this album, and it is a revised version of it. We've changed it a little bit than what the EP came out as. The EP came out, we recorded Liar, really liked it, threw a couple of cover songs on it. If I remember correctly, we did a Triumph tune and we did a Priest tune, if I remember. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it was that. And we did the Liar video. There's a video to that song, and it was done in a warehouse. Robert set that up, and we hired a video crew. They came over, did it, and we really liked the way it was coming about. It has a blues sound to it. As much as people, call us a heavy metal band, we like to declare ourselves as a hard rock or a rock band. Heavy metal, yeah, there's a couple of heavy metal songs in there, but I think we kind of push ourselves towards the rock and the more rhythmic and with heavy metal, it almost sets us aside as, okay, there has to be something extremely hard coming out, where, I'm a child of the 80s. I like, good rhythms. I like, I get into everybody. I even like Colin James and stuff like that. I like the blues, like the, the heaviness to Anthrax, but the sound of extreme kind of thing. Sure. A very wide range of different genres that everybody has in this band. And it really reflects on the songs that we come out with. And Liar was one of them. Liar has a really cool groove. And as soon as we start getting onto that live, people go, oh, I like this song. I like this song. And getting the audience to yell out Liar, it's an awesome experience. It's really cool. I like it.
Good for you, bud. And Thank you. You guys are very talented. As I say, please keep me informed when the bands get back at it, because the wife and I would love to come see you guys, hang out, have a beer, take some video, bring it back to this House of Musicians Facebook group and do maybe some Facebook Live stuff or something while you guys are playing. Dave, it's been an absolute honor to have you on the show, man. And you know what? We'll have you back on next year and see what you guys are up to. So thank you very much for being a guest, buddy.
Thanks, Barry. Very, I really enjoyed this. This was fun. Gary, also, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome very much, Dave. Good luck with all your projects.
Thank you very much. Okay, Barry, until next time, buddy.
Thank you. And to the listener, I say thank you for being here, and always dance and sing and let the music bring your soul to the surface for all the world to see. Until next time, have a shuffle your feet kind of week, and good night. You've been listening to This House of Musicians on Reality Radio 101.